Oh, gang, how is everybody doing tonight? 9 o'clock on the nose. We are a culture of starting on time, so I'm super excited that all of you jumped on in a timely fashion, and I appreciate you being here. Here in Michigan, where I'm at, it's 9 o'clock in the evening, and it's cold, but not as cold as it has been over on the West Coast. I see Skylar's on. It's 6 o'clock, and then anywhere else in the world, it's somewhere in between. So I appreciate you guys being here. I also want to tell you, for all of you that are here, is that um, those of us who do this calls, and me in particular, I really admire people who come on these calls. I appreciate people with an open mind. And when you expand your mind, when you keep your mind open, when you keep your eyes and your heart open, possibility is everywhere. And this is one of those times, right? You opened up your heart, you opened up your mind, you're here. And I want you to really just sit back and enjoy the ride tonight and understand that that quality is admirable. And it means that you are always going to be open to whatever might come your way. And I appreciate that in people. For me, my name is Laurie Court, and I found a call like this about 7 years ago. And what it did for me is beyond what I can really even explain in a call in this time frame. It changed everything that I thought, not only about business, but about the way that you can do business, about free enterprise, about culture, about helping others. And really, for the most part, I think what it taught me to do was to leverage. And one of the biggest lessons I learned is really about leverage and about how people who create many streams of income and can create wealth and can help others in the process don't only learn leverage, they master it. And it's a journey that I've been on for quite some time. So this is going to be a little bit about that as well. I'm pretty typical traditional business owner, have a few businesses, they do pretty well. I also have this business, which I adore. And I like to dabble a little bit in like projects and startups. It's kind of a passion of mine. I'm a mom, a grandma, all the things that so many people on this call probably are. And for you, you know, I think that one of the things that we should really keep in mind is not about who I am or who about our next presenter is, but who are you on this call? I think that's the most important thing. You know, are you like me? Are you somebody who is kind of moving into a new chapter in their lives, you know, where you're wondering, you know, what happens when you turn 60, 70 years old? And what are you going to do about, you know, keeping income and income streams coming in? And maybe you're a parent, a single parent, a mom, anything like that, where you're looking for some extra income. Maybe you're a student, you know, and you just don't want to punch the clock. However, you need some money coming in. So whoever you are on this call, I want you to know one thing. What we're about to talk to you about is unbiased. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you are educated, not educated, old, young, if you're female, if you're male, heavy, thin, nothing matters. This is an opportunity that anybody can take advantage of and anybody can be successful. And I'm going to tell you, I know that from experience. I have seen many, many, many people thrive in this space. And not only in terms of money, which is a big one, but also in terms of what they've been able to do on the inside. And that's really important. So I'm going to share with you the reason that you're here. It is for a company called Uforia, which there's two really big things I want you to keep in the back of your mind when you're listening tonight. First of all, I'm going to show you a PowerPoint. I am a visual learner, and I'm going to take you through that so you can actually see what's going on. More importantly, though, I want you to think about the marketplace when we're going through this. And I want you guys to remember a couple things. First of all, what you're about to see is considered a category changer. Okay, and in the marketplace, when you come to the table with something like that, it is a big deal. Okay, and actually our second person who's going to share some things with you tonight is going to talk a little bit more about that. The other thing is that when you have something in the marketplace that is disruptive, again, it's something you really should pay attention to. And so I'm going to take you in. Let me share my screen really quick and help you see exactly why you're here and why we can capitalize on really just timing and the needs in the marketplace. So the reason that you're here, guys, is for a company called Uforia, Uforia Science. Tagline being you never felt better. And when I go through this with you, you're going to see exactly why we say that. Right now, it's pretty mainstream for people to have genetic testing done. And what we've seen so far is that people are doing it for like heritage and ancestry and personality traits. And I think that's a blast. I was adopted. So for me, that's really an interesting concept. So the thing is that as much fun as those are, I don't know what I would do with the information once I get it, right? Like how can I make that work for me? How can I capitalize on that? Uforia understood that the marketplace was ready for this. However, what they wanted to do is they wanted to put together a genetic test based on your DNA that will determine how you can stay healthy. Okay, and what they do is they can do that by developing supplementation for you, inspired by you, based on your own DNA. Okay, and so it's a pretty big deal. In the past 70, 80 years, it's not unusual, and it's all we've known is blind nutrition. And guys, blind nutrition, all that means is that we try to get our supplementation and we try to do what's right for our body, and we do it based on intelligence, and that's great. That's all we've known. So doctors or parents or friends or the person at GNC tells you what they feel you need based on what you might be feeling. You know, you're feeling a little drained, you might need this, that kind of thing. The thing is that is a one-size-fits-all mentality, and that is not ideal. Okay, it's really not. It's all we've known. But now with Uforia, that's not the case any longer. Designer nutrition is what Uforia is doing. And guys, we are ready for this. Like, there is no question. Uforia is developing science-based, concrete science, exclusive, proprietary, custom nutrition based on somebody's DNA. Okay, and health is not a habit. Health is a habit. It's not an event. So what we really want to do is understand, what is Uforia. Uforia Science is this. I'm going to say it twice. It's a biotech company. Remember that word, biotech. It creates custom designer supplementation based on the genetic testing of a person's DNA. Okay, again, it's a biotech company. It creates custom designer supplementation based on the genetic testing of a person's DNA. And I actually have mine right here, and I love it. So there's a couple components to why we're able to do this and how we're the only company able to do this. Okay, the first thing is that we have a real medical lab. Okay, not a Google lab, it's a big boy lab. It's where your DNA is actually processed. For right now, we are paneling or testing 18 different SNPs. SNPs are genes, and we're looking for variants in those genes. Now, these labs, guys, security is of the utmost importance. They are HIPAA compliant, CLIA certified, CAP certified. Those are not hard. They're hard. They're difficult to get. Okay, they're not easy. And what happens is when you are compliant with those certifications, you are a legit laboratory. It is a medical lab. We also own the intellectual property. Now, this is where things get really interesting. So it's really cool to be able to test for DNA. However, how do you know what to do with it once you have? So the intellectual property is the software that's been in the making for just over 20 years. And once your DNA is tested, this software can actually panel it and determine where a gene would have a variant. And a really quick explanation of that: you have a DNA strand, and if you took the alphabet times a million, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, a million different times, if just somewhere in there 2 letters were transposed, you would have a variant in your gene. So our software is able to put together nearly 400 million different formulas, and one of them is yours. Really quickly, these are the genes. Forget about all the mumbo jumbo. Just take a peek though. Detoxification, healthy weight management, vitamin B12, free radical. These are some of the things that we're testing for. These are fundamental genes. They are the basics in your body and what really your body relies on for the best health and the best performance. Once you get them tested, this is what your report looks like. It's a 37-page report. Don't let it scare you. It's all done in layman's terms, but this is really how you read it. Here's your 18 SNPs. Here is your healthy lipid support. Red means that both parents gave you a variant and you definitely need support in those areas. Green means the result is perfect. You're doing just fine there. And yellow means that one of your parents gave you a variant. And again, you're going to need to supplement that gene. We absolutely respect lifestyle choices, allergens, all those kinds of things. Our company is big on using the very best clinically tested supplements that they can. So we are non-GMO, vegan, and gluten-free. And this is where the company really took things to the next level. Just a quick synopsis. 2008 to 2015, there was a market study done. 50,000 people used this product, and over 500,000 months of this product were sent out during that time frame, and the results blew the medical community and the scientific community away. What they couldn't do was scale it. They couldn't figure out how to do 1 million or 2 or 3 or 4 million different custom supplementations every single month. So our owner, Mr. Terry LaCour, knew that it could happen. He engineered this machine. He dumped millions and millions and millions of his own dollars into it, and he put together the one and only one on the planet, Nutritionator. And this is what actually puts the formula together and allows you to scale this company to the billions of people that are eventually going to be using this. Once your test is done, this is it. How it comes out, right? Comes in capsules or powder. Amazing formula. And the guys, before I turn this over, I want to just really remind you, especially for the younger people on this call, you're going to pay one way or the other for sickness or health. It's true. It's true every single time. I still have bills from kids in high school and college who were injured or, didn't really recoup from the flu right or whatever that may be. And, supplementation is one of those things that people kind of worry about later. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just know this. Know that when you treat your body with the things that it needs and the things that when it has it, your body performs as good as it can, you feel as good as you can. That is way better than being sick. So I want to kind of stop it here and take you on to somebody who's going to share with you really the reason that most of you are here. And one thing I want to tell you guys is that the infrastructure of this company that our friend David's going to share with you is beyond anything that I've personally ever seen in this space. And the cool part about it is that leverage is something that when you learn it, you realize that it is definitely the way that you want to do business. I want David to kind of come on here and teach you and show you how this company has invited us to leverage their infrastructure, not only to get the word out there, but to also be able to monetize it. Now, David is somebody that I've known actually, probably 6 or 7 years. As I mentioned to you earlier, my story with this industry would blow a lot of your minds. However, it has changed so much for me. One of the people I have seen the most transformed from this industry has been David Roden. When David started out, he was in college, biomedical, I believe, is what he was going for. His dad is a doctor, cardiologist, and that's kind of where he was going. However, David got a hold of this industry. He got a hold of the culture. He got a hold of what it means to develop yourself and to think outside the box. And at the time, David looked a little different than he does right now. What he did, due to the changes that he internally made through these types of opportunities, one of the most impressive things was that he bought in and he lost 170 pounds using a product like this, using mentality that this industry teaches you. Now, that's big enough, okay? David, though, could be 800 pounds, but his heart would weigh 1,000, like every single time. David has the biggest heart of anybody that I know. He is a giver. He is servant-driven. He has a way of, somebody said this on a timeline yesterday, of telling a story unlike any other. I am proud to be in business with him. I've been in business with him now for 6 years. We've traveled together. Our families are now friends. And he's the guy that's going to be able to really take you to the next step. You're here because of the opportunity, and David's going to be the one to explain that to you. So if you can give it up for my friend David Roden, he's going to take over from here.
Perfect. Well, thank you so very much, Laurie. I mean, how do I go on with that? Like, I think I should just turn it off because I'm not that special. That's like, I'm just going to let her finish because, like, I'm not that special. But I appreciate you so friggin' much. I want to keep this very short and sweet because I know how much you value your time. So a couple things I'm going to go through is really explain how the product works, just on like getting your kids started, what's the value in that. But real quick, I just want to share you the thought process of me and my experience and my backstory a little more detailed than Laurie. So with me, I was junior in college. I was a biomed major. I was about to follow in the family footsteps of my dad. He's a cardiologist. And so obviously I'm about to make this big transition in my life. So I asked myself, is being a doctor what I want? And so I broke it down. I was like, all right, Well, obviously, the income of a cardiologist is something you could fall in love with and enjoy. I always knew the more luxury things of life. However, I'm just a firm believer in the idea of money doesn't make life any better. It just makes life simpler. And it just gives you different options. And so I loved that portion. However, I saw the side that most of you guys never see when it comes to doctors. Everyone looks up to doctors and lawyers as these all-knowing beings that make so much money and all this kind of stuff. But in reality, my dad, up until about 4 years ago, he's 67 and he still works 70 plus hours a week. And when I was in my grade school days, it probably comes about my 400 plus pound life, because I never really had a father figure growing up, because he was working 80 to 100 hours a week and never told me no. I experienced that side of you know what? I don't care how much money you make. If you're a slave to your job, you're a slave to your job. And so I decided that wasn't what I wanted in my life. I wanted not only money freedom, but I also wanted time freedom, which is what most doctors have no idea how that side works. And so I had to open my eyes up. I hit my junior year and I was like, you know what do I want to do? How do I create both financial and time freedom? And that's when I was blessed enough to come across these incredible people like Laurie, like Tom, like Luke, and they opened my eyes up to what this business is all about and how it works. And so it really just taught me the foundational side of leverage. And I'll get into that in the future here. But what I want to do is, Laurie, would you mind? My computer's been freaking out with trying to share my computer. Could you share the last couple slides here? I'm just going to go over a couple things. When it comes to the product itself, it's so cool because my dad is absolutely fascinated with this right now, because he's actually 6 months from retirement and going into this DNA-based supplementation nutrition. He knows the next step. It is the next step. This idea of everyone taking the same multivitamin, everyone taking the same just chemicals, it just doesn't make sense because we're all so genetically different. A personal testimonial, even with my weight loss, I've always had high blood pressure. Still to this day, still have high blood pressure. I got off my blood pressure meds because I got it down low enough with weight loss and proper nutrition and eating healthy. But I still sit high normal, which is instead of being 120 over 80, I'm 139 over 95, which isn't high enough to have blood pressure medication, but it's not ideal. And crazy enough, about a month and a half ago when I did my DNA test back, got my results back, and sure enough, one of the SNPs we test for regulates blood pressure. It's what it's meant for. And crazy, I got a red smiley face, meaning both my parents gave me a bad variance or a bad, not ideal genetic disposition for blood pressure. And what's fascinating now is my personal supplement has all the different clinically proven vitamins, minerals, and plant-based sources to help support my blood pressure, because I already have that struggle. And so it's fascinating not only how I had it on a real life, I've dealt with it my whole life, to getting my DNA test back, and boom, there it is. And it helps just solidify, all right, where do I need to work on? How do I get better? And I was a biomed major in college. I did all of the crazy research. I look at the clinical studies, but the average person just doesn't have that like I do. Whether it's they don't want to put in time, they don't want to put in the effort. But this is such a cool way in order to take the average person and give them the best supplementation for their life, so that they can help promote that most healthy lifestyle they're living today. So move on to the next slide. So how this works is very simple. If what this is as simple as just getting a kit for yourself, just like a 23andMe. There's a couple different starter kits. You can get a 1-pack for yourself. You can save 15% by getting a 3-pack, save 20% by getting a 5-pack for not only you, but your friends and your family, anyone else. And you also can get a 10-pack as well. Really simple process. I have one right here actually. And it is very simple how to just mouth swab, put it into the mail. You register at ustart.com, simple process, and you send it in. You get your results back in 2 to 4 weeks. And if all that's what you want to do is just the product side of the company, we have an incredible 4 for free program that when you refer 4 people to the product because you want to help your friends and your family have the most ideal health they can, you get your product for free every month. It's a fascinating concept. It's very simple, and it's really, really effective. So if all you want out of this is just to get a free supplement, it is a great, great way to do this. But for people that see a bigger vision and understand the power of networking, understand the power of this business, the simplicity of it is the most important part. To understand how marketing works, all it is eyes. All it is where do people put most of their eyes and ears? And up until now, for the most part, where does money usually go for advertisement? Billboards, TV commercials, YouTube ads, print ads, Facebook ads, all these ad campaigns that I actually do digital marketing on the side. And so I actually create these videos. I help companies create ad campaigns to try to get more sales for their company. But the issue is that with that, you're spending huge upfront money to make a video, to make these campaigns, and you have no idea if it's going to be effective or not. You are hoping that it's effective, but you don't know. And so what is by far the most effective source of advertisement? Word of mouth. There's not even a question. Laurie can tell you that with her traditional business, with catering. Most of her sales coming in the future are word of mouth referrals. So how about you create a system that can help support, promote, and create cash flow for people that word of mouth your product? That's all this is. And so instead of spending the money on traditional advertisement, they spend money on nutritionists. They give that money to average people like you, like me, like Laurie, that when you create sales for the company, they pay you on it. Simple as pie. It's the simplicity is the most important part. And one of the foundations of it, and why is it so important to me, is because going back to what I was saying before with leverage. Successful, both financial and time people, is they learn how to create leverage. And leverage is being able to invest your time and your money for the future, whether that's stocks or whatever. You have to be able to leverage not only now, but in the future. So for example, my dad at the end of the day is being leveraged by a hospital. As in, if he doesn't go to work tomorrow, he stops getting paid. That's just a fact. That's just how it is. And so you have to learn ways to create leverage within your life in order to create consistent, sustainable cash flow. And so by far, what we do within direct sales is the most simple and least risk way in order to do so. Because it takes the average person where you don't have to create, you don't have to learn how this DNA tests work. You don't have to go through all the genetic testing to figure out how these variances work. You don't have to hire doctors, hire lawyers, hire all this stuff. All you got to do is be able to share this with friends and family and people you know that would like to be healthier and like to be wealthier, and create an extra $500 to $1,000 a month through customer referrals. And it is the simplest, most effective way for long-term stable income. So go to the next slide. When it comes to creating what Laurie was talking about, this idea of getting ahead of a trend. One of my really good friends, Luke, incredible mentor to me. He's had some incredible mentors in his life. And if you want to, if this is just an extra $500 to $1,000 a month, fantastic. Like that's what we love. But if you understand trends and you understand being able to create what you call like beach money or just future money where you can do whatever you want with your life. Like I love being at home with my family. Like I love being with my parents. I love being with my special needs brother. It's so important to me. And the only way you do that is through long-term stable income. And so by doing that, you have to set yourself according to future trends. And so the global personalized medicine market is going to go through the roof over the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. It's just a new evolution of medicine and supplementation. Why would you spend the same dollars and same supplement that everyone else is taking when we're all so genetically different? It doesn't make sense. And so if you can align yourself according to that trend, you can see huge benefit. Finally, Inc. magazine came out with a new report saying the top 10 best industries to be in. It's crazy. Health and tech are the top 2 to be in. And if you look actually within it, biotech is the number one within it. Why? Because we're so we're moving so advanced, we're learning so quickly, you can take advantage of where things are going. It's so important. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you getting on here. If you have any questions, comments, observations, reach out to the person that got you on here. I would love to get on a call. I know Laurie would. I know Tom would. And so with that being said, guys, have a phenomenal day, and I'll talk to you all soon.